Hi, my name is Pete Grebener. I'm with Displays Office Equipment here in Elk Grove, Illinois. I want to thank you guys for coming in today for the demo on this new exciting interactive touch screen. As we talked about in the non-for-profit world, there are a lot of concerns that you guys have. A few of those being your budget cuts, having fewer employees, security of your documents, working with repetitive jobs, and a staff that's just not as familiar with maybe the technology that we're trying to implement. Also trying to incorporate the green initiatives that were set forth by the corporate office. So what I want to do today is show you how this wonderful interface here will help you accomplish all those goals. I know we only have a 10-15 minute window today, so I want to keep us on track. And with that, I'll give you a list so we can play along together here. One of the first things that I want to point out is the touch panel itself. One real nice thing about this is it is adjustable. It just slides over and locks into place. This is real helpful for different height folks that you have on staff. And it's also wheelchair compliant, ADA compliant, so you can actually fold it down again for accessibility reasons. This screen is totally customizable. One of my favorite buttons is our home button. So whenever I'm ready to get started, I just simply go to my home button and it will bring up the home screen. On my screen I also have a pin over here. With this pin, when I open that up, it will give me other menu options. This you'll find will be your biggest asset to this whole touchscreen display. When I'm in this mode, I can go in and edit my home screen, and when I touch this, it's going to ask me to authenticate, so not everybody can make changes to this. Now with this, I'll slide out my retractable keyboard, enter in my password, and that will allow me to make changes to my screen. And as you can see, we can register keys, delete keys, change the name on keys, or actually go back to our default settings. So I'll go ahead and register a new key. And when you see this, there's a lot of options that we have. One thing I like is the batch print feature, so I'm going to add that as a quick touch key. Once I'm done, I'll just go ahead and clear out of there, and then go back into my main screen. So as you can see, very easy to customize. We can change colors and again the layout of the screen. We also have some quick touch keys down here as well. Now one of the things that I think is very important is being able to authenticate to the machine. What this is going to allow us to do is when we log in, it's going to give us the ability to control access to certain features, and it's also going to give us some other direct tie-ins to feature sets that we have available. For example, not everybody is going to have access to color printing and copying capabilities, so when they log in, it's going to take away their ability to copy in color and give the privileges to those who need it. One other thing this does is as I log in, as I send an email, it's going to actually put my reply address in there, so when you want to reply to me, it'll come straight back to my email, as opposed to many companies have a generic email address that goes back to. So it's going to help give us better control in sharing those documents. One of the really nice features on this system is, again, in the home screen we have a program register. So with this, for those jobs that we're doing over and over again, I can create the features that I want to do. Again, on this left-hand pin, or excuse me, right-hand pin, I have quite a few different features that I can pick out to store. Here's one of my favorite buttons. When I go in here, it's actually going to pull up different features that I like to use often. And one thing I like to do is go into the global address search, and I can actually find the location of who I want to send it to. Once I type in my name and search, it's going to pull up my name, so now I can store that as a quick touch destination. I'm also going to use mix-sized original, so once I select that, I'm going to go ahead and say OK, and program register right here, and I'm going to name that mixed size. As you see, we have a really nice keyboard to help us enter all that in. And then I can also register this as a favorite. So when I come in here, when I go to the home screen, I have my arrows here so I can go to the other screens that I have. And now you can see, I can't see it. Cut. You can see the screen that I just created right here. One of the other nice features that we have is called copy and send. So when I'm in my copy mode, again, I'll go into my pin menu and I'll go into what's called send and print. Now when I select this, what I'm going to do is select the address that I'd like to send this to. Now this can be a network folder or an email address. I really want Susan to have a copy of this, so I'll just go ahead and select her name, and then I'll say enter address. So now this will go to her, and as I start here, it's going to go ahead and make a color copy for myself. And at the same time, it's going to send that email over to Susan. Pretty nice feature, isn't it? I know that you guys have had a lot of documents that have been lost when whoever's working on the file, so this will give you a couple of different benefits. One, it'll always have that file to the agent working with that customer, and then also you'll be able to retain your hard copy for any edits or documentation that you need to do. We also have the ability to scan to a folder. So when we come in again into the screen, we have an icon here for network folder. When I select this, I can actually go into my address book then and choose from my list of different folders that I have available. When I select my folder, I can simply put my document in and choose black and white or color. Or one other feature that I have is I can actually preview these documents before I send them over. So as I set them in my document feeder, I'll hit the preview button. And when I select that, what you'll notice is a preview of the document will appear on the screen. Now I've scanned in 4 documents, and as you might see, they're all appearing here on the screen. When I want to edit, I'll just go into the edit mode here, and it'll show me my 4 pages. Now I accidentally put an original in upside down, so I can simply touch on that original, and I can just turn that over so it's in the right position for the rest of my documents. The other thing I can do is I can actually move that to the front of my stack just by holding down on that and then putting it in right where I want it to end up. So as you'll see, now I have that as my number 1 page. One other nice feature here is there's an X on here that I really don't want to have there. So again, my pin menu here will allow me to do some other features on here. So I want to erase that X. What I'll do is I'll start with my start point here and tell the system that's what I'm doing. And then I'm going to come over here for my end point. Now, the really nice thing about this is I don't have to be too worried about how centered I get, because when I touch on this, it will give me the option to move it and expand it or shrink it. So it's a really easy to use. Once I'm done, I just simply tell it to go ahead and execute, and then when I'm all done with that, I'll just go ahead and say exit. So then I'll exit. And then when I'm done, I'll just go ahead and tell it that I ended my exit, and you'll see that it's taken off. And then once I press start, it'll go ahead and send that document for me. The next thing that I wanted to talk to you about was the power management on this system. One thing that's really important today with our budgets being cut, we don't have a lot of money to spend frivolously, so one of the nice things that Sharp has introduced into this new series is an automatic timer. So I can actually program this system, and I can tell it when to be awake and when to be available and when to be sleeping and being resting, so we're not using valuable resources. This is all done through our settings tab, and in our setting tabs, again, we can tell it which hours to be on and which hours to be off. There's also a quick list, so you can actually create 4 different scenarios. So if during the summer you have different hours, you can just simply choose from a list as opposed to having to go in and recreate that every time. One other nice feature on this is we have an enlarged display mode. So when I go into this, it will actually make my icons and my settings larger for those who have vision issues. The other thing that we have just introduced is a Braille overlay. So those that have, again, vision impairment will be able to use the Braille features for the copy and the fax features. Now, with all this in mind, I think this will be a valuable resource to help not only save energy, but also to have your users be more comfortable with the different feature sets that are available. With that being said, is Thursday okay for delivery? Thank you for your time.